I think I tend to gravitate towards villains, honestly, when I'm watching like a TV show or playing a game or something. I don't know, just something about the designs and the looks of it. I feel like I'm such an optimistic... I guess in my real life, I tend more hero style. I try to be the nice guy. I try to be punctual whenever I know where I'm going. And so I think I probably fit more the hero archetype, but like when I'm watching stuff or playing games, I always tend to be like, oh, that villain's really cool or something.
I'm kind of the opposite actually.
Yeah.
I as much as I want to take all the bad choices, like I've been playing Baldur's Gate lately, and as much as I want to like ruin things, I'm always like, oh, I can't. I feel so bad. I feel so responsible. And inevitably, I'm like going towards like the heroic path, like save these refugees, do the right thing, you know, let the forest grow.
You've got to save the owlbear.
Can't help myself, right? I want to kill that thing, but like I can't do it.
I
Can't initiate combat, so...
You know, after that answer, I changed my... I'm the same way. I always... I'm like, I want to do the jerk thing, but it feels like I'm ruining something if I'm not being the good guy in this game.
It's weird because, like, no one's like, you're just playing the game by yourself.
Yeah,
no one's
gonna judge
no one's
you.
taking account, right? unless you're streaming and people are like, oh, so this is how he really is.
Yeah. This is how his true feelings.
And?
I just want that Minthara romance, but I have to sacrifice a whole group of people. Hard.
Worth?
But she's my dark elf beauty.
Well, this has just become the Baldur's Gate panel.
I like heroes and I like villains. It just really depends where they're coming from. Like, you know, you have your generic villains and your generic heroes. I like to understand where they're coming from. So if they have a little depth for their reason to do what they do, then I'm all for it. Like, another dark fantasy, Berserk, Guts, a very tortured protagonist, you know, who could very easily become the villain, but he's, worked through it, and he's, got a nice group of friends through his suffering and hardships, and, I love him for that, and, rest in peace to the mangaka. Gecko Moria too, like One Piece, you're like, oh, and surprising these days, it's getting a ton of depth, but, zombie armies, like, oh, this is the wacky zombie guys, like, no, he's actually really hurt from having his entire crew massacred, so he has an undead army instead, so he has to never lose a crew member again because they're just cannon fodder, so they have no personality, so he doesn't lose anyone really. So it's just about, like, the motivation behind the character that drives me to, like a hero or a villain.
I feel like when writers are writing villains, you've gotta jump the hurdle of why are they being villains? Because if they're just villains for villains' sake, that's when you get like the two-dimensional characters. And so like I feel like a lot of modern writers, just in general, they're like, okay, now I need to come up with like actual reasons for them to be this way. And I feel like it just sort of lends itself to having a lot more depth to them.
But also, if they're two-dimensional too, it's like, just do whatever. They're generic villains. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes you need some robot zombies to shoot.
Exactly.
All right, so if we could get the VIP